Hey, I'm Chef Shahir Masood, and I'm making a turkey feteer from my very first cookbook called Eat Habibi Eat, where I kind of put modern interpretations on these classic Egyptian recipes. So let's get into the feteer. Okay, so a feteer is a layered kind of pastry that it could be savory with meat, it could be sweet with, ghee and cinnamon and sugar. Today we're obviously doing a savory version with a spicy turkey filling, and the dough is really, really easy. It's 2 parts all-purpose flour to 1 part water. So I've got 4 cups all-purpose flour here into my stand mixer. And I always say, if you don't have a stand mixer, you could do stuff like this by hand, but I mean, nobody does. It's a lot of work. So try and get a stand mixer for something like this because you really need to work the dough. You need to activate the gluten because with the feteer, we're gonna stretch it out super, super thin. We start on a low speed so the flour doesn't go everywhere. We'll slowly get in the water. Pinch of salt. And then as it starts to come together, I'll increase the speed just to start kneading it. So when your dough has developed gluten, you can really feel how strong it is. Take this dough, divide it into 4 balls. If I go to stretch out that dough now, it's gonna snap back at me. And I want it to rest for at least an hour. Overnight even is best. Lots of olive oil on the bottom, lots of olive oil on top. We wrap this in plastic, let it rest at least a couple hours. So we're gonna talk about our filling. We're gonna start with a little bit of olive oil in our pan. Medium-sized onion and 4 cloves of garlic. Nice and garlicky here. And whenever I sweat onions and garlic, I give a pinch of salt. It kind of breaks down the onion, releases its natural moisture. This will go for 5 or 6 minutes. We've got 1.5 pounds of ground turkey here. Traditionally, it would be made with beef, but the reason why I swapped that out, I mean, it's a really rich kind of dish. It's a rich filling. It's meat encapsulated in dough. So I thought, okay, let's go a little bit leaner. Some paprika for that punch of color, little smokiness. Chili flake, I want a little bit of heat. And then that freshly toasted ground fennel seed or anise seed if you have. I want that licoricey flavor all in there. And I do it at this time also so we can kind of cook off the spices as well with that meat. This is gonna cook for about 2-3 minutes. And then I'll add the tomato paste to cook out the rawness of the tomato paste for another minute or so. Okay, now we're ready for our chicken stock. 1.5 cups of stock to help the turkey cook through and keep our moisture level high for our mixture. We're gonna bring this up to a gentle boil and then knock it down, cook the turkey through until all that liquid has evaporated away. It's looking good. I'm gonna kill the heat and then we're gonna finish it with cold butter. So heat off. Reason why I swirl in cold butter at the end is to keep it emulsified. If my butter is hot, it'll kind of split and become greasy. So cold butter at the end. And this is one of those things that kind of makes it a modern interpretation. I don't know if my mom or my teta would do this. This is more of a French thing. I'm gonna let this cool completely. Before we stretch out our dough, I don't wanna start filling it with hot meat mixture. So let this cool completely, and then we're gonna start to really stretch out our feteer dough. I made this last night. So you start it almost like a pizza. Start to stretch it out. It doesn't look like anything fancy yet, right? And this is why we activated the gluten as hard as we did, so that it doesn't rip, it doesn't tear. Keeping the dough thin is key because that's, like I said, that's what's gonna create those pockets where the meat can go and you create those thin, crispy layers of dough. If you do tear it, by the way, it's no big deal. You just pinch it close together. Can you see my hand? That's what you want. I've got some cooled mixture here. See that? It's cooled completely. But before I start to spread it onto my feteer dough, I'm gonna hit it with a good amount of olive oil. I want this meat mixture to be pliable enough to spread through the dough. So you can see there's lots of oil. We're gonna paint with the meat mixture. So right in, don't worry about that oil getting everywhere. Remember, that's what's gonna crisp up the dough. We ate this as kids on special occasions. Sweet versions at holidays, occasionally the meat versions for a dinner, but to be honest, growing up, we didn't eat a lot of Egyptian dishes like this on a regular basis. As a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, to be honest with you, I wasn't interested. I was more interested in, a McDonald's Happy Meal or whatever. So you can see how much meat I've piled onto this thing. This is huge. This is huge. Now, there's different ways to fold this. Some people kind of fold it in like a square shape. This is just my own technique. I like to kind of do a pinwheel action. So I'll take my bottom piece here, I'll fold into the middle, and see what I'm talking about? All that meat now is in this pocket of dough. And then I'll close it up on this side, creating layers upon layers of the dough and the super thin dough and the meat. I'll thin out my little edges here. In the center where all the dough combines onto itself, I kind of push it down so that you don't end up with one big ball of thick dough. And then I close it off like this. It doesn't have to be totally perfect. It's kind of this awkward shape, and that's okay. Here, it's nice and hot. Look how big it is. Now this part's a bit tricky. Oh my gosh. This part's a bit tricky. Yay! Get it in there. I'm gonna sear this for 2-3 minutes. Please don't cheat the sear. Really get good golden brown color. I'm gonna flip it, sear it for another 30 seconds, and then off to an oven, 375 degrees for 25 minutes. So you get under this bad boy. Ah, look. And now it can go to this parchment lined sheet tray to finish cooking off, 375 degrees for 25 minutes. And if you don't have a cast iron, just put it in your oven at a higher temperature, 425 for 25-30 minutes. What pro move. When this comes out, we're gonna cut it into kind of triangles and whatnot, but you gotta dip it into something. Little tahini. So I like to loosen some tahini with some lemon juice, fresh parsley, hot sauce if you're into that kind of thing. Don't forget the filling's already hot. It's spicy, but also kind of, you got the anise. It's crispy. Well, for the recipe, click the link below or check it out in my new cookbook, Eat the BBE. Enjoy. So Habibi is the ultimate term of endearment. It's for your children, it's for your spouse, it's for your friend, it's for your parents, it's for anybody.